Okay guys, just doing a mic check. Just give me an okay if you can hear me all right. We're about to get this one going. So we've got 10 guys tuned in already. A-okay, thank you Matthew. Okay, these guys are going to get the lag underway. Either lag or toss for breaks, up to them. Chuck, whenever you're ready, buddy, we're good to go. Hey Lou. Good to see the old Long Island crew settling in, which is nice. This is going to be a great match. Both guys in the final here, racing to 150. Yeah, so Chuck Ollie and Sammy Islam just getting ready to lag up here. Sammy had the pleasure of warming up with me, so he's in great shape. If a little battered and bruised. I say I'll be available to answer any questions throughout the match. I am looking at chat. We are kind of hooked up. Looks like we're ready to get underway. Both guys. Sammy just refusing the handshake. Already in the zone. Nice to see. Here we go. Looks like Chuck's overhit that. Sammy's right to the cushion. Looks like a break off there by Chuck. So Chuck's going to rack his first rack, and then that will be rack for each other as the match proceeds. Both guys have had a tough route to the final here, so more than deserving of being here. I've watched Chuck and Sammy on numerous occasions. Both of them play a great game. Both have the option to either attack or defend. Both great shot makers, and I would say that they've certainly got a keen eye for the straight ball. Especially when I watch Chuck, he's more playing 9 and 10 ball. So I know that the ability in the shot making is there. I haven't really watched him too much on the straight ball scene, so this will be an interesting one for me. Just a little shameless plug. We have obviously the Straight Ball League, sponsored by Jacoby Q's and Predator Q's. Shout out to those guys for supporting via Michael Yednak. And we're off. So again, not the best break off. I think he's spread 2 balls off that one. I think he was more going for distance and length by pinning him on the back cushion there. Sammy has a couple of options. Both are tricky there. Looks like he's set for the 3 ball. Personally, if he plays the 3 ball, he should really focus on just following through for the 5 after. 6 doesn't go, so this is just a natural shot. Just let the cue ball roll through. A nice early test of cueing, and he's passed. Plays it to a lovely position, just below centre of the 5. Has the option to go up into the 13 now. Just needs to make sure he doesn't get stuck on the pack. Which so often happens when you're attacking from the bottom here. Yeah, made sure he put plenty of follow, and you can see there he put actually left-hand spin on that, and it spun off the back of the rack. Very unfortunate because I don't think he's left a shot. The only thing he really has is a bank on the 2, but that is full of danger. It doesn't. He'd have to screw up for the 1 in the middle. Yeah, as predicted, he's called the bank. Nice and aggressive, nice and early on. Yeah, the bank was sitting in a nice position. He played a lovely shot there. Now it's going to get a bit more tricky because there's nothing really sitting out on the pack. The 8 ball doesn't go. I think the 13 and the 10 are tied. So unless he can just play a nice little stun draw shot, just slide down the rail and perhaps go behind the 13 and 10 to make them in the side. He's going to have to find a break shot. He may even go off the 1, as you saw his cue go there. He'll play 2 rails off the 1 and go try and head into the pack this way. Let's see how aggressive he wants to be. Here it goes. Lovely shot. Literally just making his way through the wreck. Options now. There are a few balls sitting out in the open. It's more that he's just going to have to pick these off. 4 ball will open up the route to the 11, and in turn will open up the 15 as well. May have the option to play the 15 now. I can't quite see the angle, but it may actually go. Just going to play it safe. Play the 9 ball, perhaps attack the pack again. Nice and aggressive again. Nice opening exchange here from Sammy, showing his intention early on. No obvious break ball at the moment. However, there could be a few that can be manipulated now. If he gets a good angle on either the 6 or the 14, he may be able to push the 8 ball into a nice position, or a nicer position. Just finished a little lower than he wanted to, so might have to take the 6 ball, or the 15, or the 11. It's just working his way through the rack. More than likely take the 14 just to separate those balls now. Very nice. As a good friend once told me, he said you should, if you're struggling to manipulate a ball for a break ball, just play what the rack gives you, and don't focus too much on that. You'll always find a natural ball. You may even be able to get it with the 10. If he leaves a straight in on the 13, that could be a good key ball, along with the 7. Not ideal, but it's what the rack's giving him right now. Shout out to Eddie Kunz and the commissioner, Steve Kurtz. Long Islanders love their straight pull. And gave me my first bug for the game personally over at Bayshore Billiards every Tuesday night. For those that are interested, they're going into their playoff season as well. A little funny there, so you're probably going to see a safety. He's just going to play it to the rail and make it difficult for Chuck. Not the opening shot that you want. Chuck comes to the table. And Sammy puts up the first 10 points of the game, 10-0 currently. So let's see what kind of mood Chuck's in. For me personally, I like the 13 up the rail because it leaves me a couple of options rather than attacking the. There is the 10 into the side pocket as well, but that appears slightly harder and doesn't afford better position. Yeah, that was a tough opener, a real tough opener to start. When you first get to the table, you ideally want something that's going to go straight in or it's over the pocket. So Sammy gets a free second try. Again, nothing presenting itself as a good break ball, so he might just be opting to leave the 15, which is just, if anything, it's slightly high. He'll be disappointed with that because he should have been another 2 feet over. And swing this off 2-3 rails if he is going to attack it. Very nice, controlled that well. He's going to have another tough shot, but it does afford natural position to get up to the 13 as his key ball. Eddie, it's not a new season. This is the final of the gold division. Sammy and Chuck have come through a very strong field this season, including myself, Michael, Mika, and Sean, Alaska. Played an excellent shot there. Just needs to decide whether he wants to go 2 rails and back to the side, back to the centre. Generally, I would favour this just being that it's on the rail. Easier to control the speed. Unfortunately, that type of thing can happen, where he caught too much spin off the second rail. And now he's left up. I would suggest you should play safe off this. Make the ball, get it re-racked, and make sure the cue ball goes 2 rails back to the bulk rail. Again, Sam's, he's called safe. Might just stop this dead and push it onto the back rail as well. There we go. Creating distance, that ball will get re-racked. And again, Chuck's left with only a safe option. You'll probably find he'll come behind the rack. Just play this one to stick on the bottom rail. It's a little soft, so it doesn't really matter. He'll take the hit. Now on -1. But hasn't really left anything. Sam just taking the hit. There's no point in doing anything silly there. by Sammy. A lot of body English, as you saw. A little twisty turny. Always helps that ball just find its way in. No one said you couldn't manipulate the balls that way. A couple of options here. I think the 9 does actually, the 9 ball you see at the top of the pack to the right, that does actually go if he wants to attack that now. Just looking at a couple of options for the combos as well, seeing if the 7-3 is frozen, which it might be. I think he's called the 3. So that suggests he's going to play the 9, 7 and 3 and try and really split this ball open. Nice spot there by Sammy. That really opens the rack wide open. A little unfortunate there to get a touching ball, but with this many balls in the open, I really don't think that he's got too much to be concerned about. By the way, I am nice and close to the table, so I am talking quietly. If anyone can't hear me and wants me to talk up or adjust the volume, please let me know. I think 10 ball is the option. Playing it high off the rail, doesn't really need to do too much with the cue ball. Doesn't really want to disturb the break balls too much though. As it sits there, I think the 6 is still lying in a nice position, so he can leave that now. 4 ball's the obvious choice. Just use a nice draw shot, come across for the 11 and 1 ball. Pulling out the rest there. This is going to make the shot just that little bit more awkward, which is probably what you don't need. This is where it's nice, where you can use your left hand and just bridge over that ball. I don't think he realises he could twist that rack round and still get purchase. Now refusing it. The 12 does go long. It is a tight gap. You should just play at pocket speed, and this will go nice. Played it aggressively, still has the 4. He's going to be turning the cue ball a little loose. Again, doesn't really want to disturb that 6 ball. Want to try and keep hold of that. Which is why he's playing the option here to go to the 5 instead of using the 4. Offers more control and better position. Played it nice. Nice little squat as well. Again, body English does help the ball go in. The race is even. They're racing to 150. Currently, Sammy has all the points. So here it took the first rack and it's -1 to Chuck. So I will get a score update shortly. Again, just losing the cue ball slightly there. Didn't want to be as close as he is to the 9 ball. Still has the option of the 15. Should really get rid of the balls on both rails as quickly as possible. There we go, just coming across nicely. Wants to, he's just got enough room. So he can play the 2-ball here. I would suggest 2-ball and then just try and leave it there for the 7 and then use the 9 as the key ball. And here I'll be trying to leave it straight. I mean, he's pointing his cue to, he wants to come across, but he's coming across the line of shape there. Hey, brother. Mr. Padilla in the house, the GM. I believe the score as it sits is currently 27 to -1 in favour of Sami Islam. Just taking his time. No rush to put points down here. Just needs to come one rail. Yeah, speed control. That really did get a big bounce off that first rail. Still has a shot, but has made it infinitely more difficult. Sammy, what's the score, bud? Score?
27 -1.
Good, I got it. So yeah, the score is 27 -1. I got a little ahead of myself. Again, lesser man have taken the option for a safety here, but the way he's looking, he's got the fire in his eyes tonight. He's not going to let an opportunity go back to Chuck, where he could make points. Again, for me, this is a 60-40 shot. Played it lovely. A good lesson out there to people learning the game. Didn't play that with hardly any speed. Just made sure of the pot, and the balls have broken out. Very nice. There's a couple of clusters, but the main thing is he's still at the table. Again, once again, the race is an even race to 150. So we've got a good 2 hours of straight ball ahead of us, depending on who pushes out the lead. Sure if he meant to do that. I think he meant to break up the 5-12 that's just at the bottom there, but it hasn't worked out too bad. Still got options going forward. So you can take the 15 now, or you can choose to get a little bit of a better angle. When playing the 15, he's going to naturally break up the 12-5 as well. It's definitely the right shot to play. Create a little bit of a problem with the 11-5, 11-5-8. He needs to figure out a way. Well, even still, the 5-11 might combo, and he could just pick away at that rather than trying to break a ball out. Chose the option to go into it. That was what I was afraid of, was just getting stuck on that ball. Still has options, which is nice. Has the 2-ball. The 2-ball is probably the natural shot. Or if he really wants to preserve his break ball, you know, with the 14 into the side, but again, that's very risky. I think I would prefer the 2. Very nice shot. What he chose to do in the end, though, was just to take out his, you know, his more preferred break ball, just in terms of keeping the break going. And it was an easier shot than what he had presented in the rack. 5-ball next. Yeah, there could be a better option. I mean, the 14 is still okay. It's a little low for me. But let's wait and see how the rack pans out. If anything, the 2-ball's a good key ball, and he can keep a nice angle on that 14 just by stopping it dead. So coming out now, you'll probably see him go 12, 12, 8, 11, 2, and then 14. Although I do know Sammy does like to come below the rack. Oh, wow, using all the pocket. Difficult using that rest. Just put a nice punch stroke on this, just make sure it gets high on the, if you can get the straighter the better. You see they used a little bit of inside English just to get that ball nice and high. Again, he's going to use draw. Just try and pinch the pocket a little here, try and cheat the pocket as best he can. Really needs to maintain some angle. I don't know if everyone saw that, but a nice little tip I can give to everyone coming from a snooker background. When you have that rake and when you have to use the rake, the best thing to do is not hold it in the air, so don't have it floating. Always try and get the rake so that it's fixed and firm in a position. If that means you have to hold it at an obscure angle, that's absolutely fine, as long as the cue is going in straight. As it is, he's found a way out, no problem at all. And left himself a slightly more obtuse angle than probably what he wanted. Sammy's certainly the aggressor, keeping Chuck in his chair. Chuck will be thinking, you know, when am I going to get my break? When am I going to get my chance at the table? And the more points Sammy piles on here, the more pressure is going to be on Chuck when he does get an opportunity to the table here. Let's see what he does here. Play a nice follow shot. Try and just come off the rack. Again, you'll see a nice soft pace. Yeah, I mean, he played a high right, which was hard. It was hard. He's paid the ultimate price there. I think he should have gone back to the option that he did with the last shot in terms of playing it soft and just popping out a couple of balls, rather than trying to spread the whole rack open. Chuck's just at the table now. Slightly easier opener. Has a couple of options. You can take the 8-ball, or you can take the combo now. 3-ball is frozen to the rail, so he may, you know. Again, this is just my aggression, but I would probably draw into the 3 now. All right, just give me a second. I'm just going to pop to the restroom. I'll be right back. Okay guys, apologies for that, just stepped out. Back in the booth now. I see Chuck's still at the table. Hopefully I haven't missed too much. Looks like Chuck's put some points back on the board, which is nice. I'll get a score update for you guys after this rack. Chuck using the Revo shaft there. Not a fan of it myself, but it's a personal choice thing. I don't know if anyone out there uses it or has any comments on it. That's a nice shot by Chuck, you know, showing his experience there. You know, really do try and break up those clusters as soon as they come about. I believe this is still the same rack. That's, he has an option to play the 7 here, so play the 7 and then disturb the 3, but I think he's going the other way. Just going to take the 4 ball out. Played it nicely. Unfortunate not to get better on something there. You know, when you turn the cue ball loose like that, you are affording a little bit to luck. Showing his frustration with a little chalk tap. Should just be able to drift down one rail here and leave himself on choice of 3. Using a little bit of inside English. Played it in nicely. Yeah, leaving himself the option of the 1, the 15, or the 7. Be nice to take out the 15 here, I think. If the 1 ball does go, he'll be able to follow this, and he should be able to push the 15 into a break ball position, which it might have worked out perfectly. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. That's a nice option. If he's confident enough, again, you know, I've said it a couple of times, a 15 does afford a good shot to disturb the 3 ball. If he bumps a 3, then he still has the option of the 8 ball. Yeah, I tried to play that, and I think a little bit of adrenaline just pushed that through. Choosing the slightly more difficult option, playing the 15 here. Yeah, just showing his shot making ability there. Played it a nice 3-rail shape. This one again slightly more difficult because it's very difficult to, as it's actually touching, it's very difficult to control the speed now and leave the angle that he's going to need for the break ball. So let's see what type of pace he plays this at. He can roll this dead weight. But he's still going to need to put a bit of draw on it to get it back. See what he can do here. Yeah, played a lovely shot, but unfortunately he's come the wrong side of the 8 ball. Could probably still go 1 rail into this. But again, he's not going to go into the pack with any velocity that he would have had he stayed the other side. 41? 31. Okay. Just a score update from there. Sammy's on 41. And Chuck getting on the board there with 13. Still at the table. See what Chuck can do. I think he's playing safe because he's drawing the ball. Oh wow. He taught me something new about his stroke there. I don't know if everyone saw that, but he queued up low and then played a follow shot on the stroke. So starting off low, followed through. I have seen that type of stroke a few times. Needs to hit a rail. He's got the. He played a nice safety. So still with control. Again, playing that safety he's found a nice location. There's nothing easy here for Sammy really to. I mean, there is one shot he could bank the 9-ball. And either draw it just behind the pack again, or just make sure he doesn't leave anything easy on the 4. Choosing the safe option, probably just slide off the 9, put it back in the same place. Again, Chuck does have the option. I think Chuck will play probably this a similar shot. Just leaving it on this top rail. Made the ball, but doesn't really make a difference. The 4 will just spot. Won't go anywhere that's going to make a danger. Nice to see David Sopolis joining us. He's shooting the 8-ball here, so I think he's going to try and draw off of the 12 into the 3-ball and push the 8 towards the pocket. That was a great spot. Wow, what a shot that is! I don't think any of us saw that one. But yeah, just mentioning David there has a wealth of knowledge on straight pull, a number of videos on YouTube, and also provides psychological training for those that want to strengthen their mental game as well. Check out his Facebook page. Of course, a salmon piping up. The salmon sees all the shots. The creator of the leaping salmon, used by many pros nowadays. So again, Sammy continuing his reign as the aggressor here. See him play the 6. Not really sure what his thought process was there. Played a weak shot from the way he has been playing. I think he obviously wanted to leave the 15, but you know, he allowed the weight of the cue ball just to get. He didn't go through the cue ball enough, and the weight of the cue ball actually, in turn, changed that to topspin, which has left him forward of the ball. I don't know if we can see, but the 9-10 is a combo. I mean, if he wants, he can go up and down the table and play that shot, but. Again, I think safety is the order of the day here. Just needs to find a nice location. I mean, I would think about just sending the 7 down table and bringing it across into the 2 and just nestling it on that nice and easy. Wow, I like this type of play. Really is attacking the balls. I think because he's got a nice point lead. Currently looking on as per the last track as 41-13 in favour of Sammy. The race is to 150. They are playing even. You are joining the gold division match. We do also have the silver bronze division, and Mike is commentating that from David Jagdeo's page for those that follow the straight pool. Very nice. A bit of an easier bank than the one that Sammy took on, but all the same, he still needed to be made, and it actually opened up the rack lovely here. He'll want to preserve the 5. I think the 5 is his break ball. Just going to get the 10 out of the way now. Nice, that's in the heart of the pocket. I think that leaves him nice on the 11. I think the 11 does go, which will make this rack wide open. If it doesn't, he still has a couple of options. Although he knows this is the key shot in the rack. If he makes this ball, then he's his favourite to get out. Must have been very, very tight for him to take it. But you see there, it just clipped the 14. Has left a wide open rack. Now Sammy has options. He can actually take the 5 here first, because the 11's actually presented itself as a secondary break ball as well. Two, yeah. Dispute over the score. All in check now. Opting to take the 15. Maybe think about just clearing these high balls and focusing his work on the lower half of the table. Me personally, I quite like leaving a ball high, just in case I do have to run out of shape or I do get high on a ball. Looks like he'll take the 11 now. Okay, I'm just making sure that it's straight in. We'll leave the 2 next. If he finishes just high on this 2, I don't think he wanted to be this side of it. Because now he's going to have to either bump the 1 or try and drift behind it for the 13. Either way, it's not ideal. Yeah, just bump the 1. It was a nice control shot. Really needs to start thinking about what his key ball is going to be. Doesn't really want to leave the 2 balls on the rail, so that's why he spun around and taken the 13. Decided on using the 1 ball as his key. Just needed to be off the rail there. He can decide now whether he wants to leave a steep angle, or as you saw there with his cue, if he wants to just float down and touch the rail, and then he can play 1 rail out for the break ball. I prefer that shot also. You know, I like coming low on this because it presents a couple of options. You can use English to get yourself out of it too. As he sits here, he can use just a plain right-hand side, or he can use high right. Just doesn't want to get straight on this 5, which is always a danger when you're using English. Played it nicely, a nice soft follow there, and he's about as perfect as you can be. What I like about this is he stayed nice and close to his work. He can reach this without using the rest. Now, he's a little bit to the left, so he should really use follow on this shot, but I have a feeling he's going to draw into it. Doesn't want to create too much angle. I think he might just... There you go. Using the draw. Came out nicely. It'll be a shame if he's not got an easier shot than the 13 here. I don't think the 7 goes. If the 7 goes, then he's been fortunate enough to leave a channel. I think... Yep, 7 presents itself, which is nice. Played it nice. With the 3 being so close there, made the pocket a little bit larger, so he did have a room for error.
Alright guys, stop now please. Alright everybody, most of you know me as John Lehman, I'm the Senior League Director here.
Don't know if you guys can hear John Lehman in the background there. Just starting off the Team 9-ball finals, which are being played on tables 9 and 10 in Amsterdam here. Played it nice there. Has the option of the 3. Just waiting for the other table. They are playing side by side here, as you can see. Opting for the 3. Using a nice outside English there just to get him high up the table. Has a couple of issues, but does have multiple options of a break ball, which is always a good thing to have for some players. However, too many options can often be a bad thing, because it does confuse your shot selection a little. Instead of using the rest, he's opting to use his extension. Hey, what's happening, Gary? Gary in the room. Again, Gary's an authorised dealer for Jacoby, so anyone that needs some equipment, I suggest you hit Gary up for some good second-hand and brand new deals. Play that nice. I think you might see you may see him attack the 4 here. But I would prefer to be straighter on the 4 and not disturb the 12, and then try and make my way around the rack, just picking these balls off. He's going to use this ball. You may well see him use the 10, then clear out the 11, and that'll allow a few more balls to go behind that. Doesn't want to leave himself on the rail, so you know, a nice punch stroke on and off the rail here. If you're off the rail, it just affords you a better option for positional play. Well, it's 11. He only really has the option now of following. He got a very heavy contact there, so I don't think that's his fault. I think he was trying to roll forward. Really only got the option of a safe here, but it's a difficult safe. I'm not sure if the 2 actually squeezes in the side. If it doesn't, he's got a good option of just freezing the cue ball on the 9, and playing the 2 up table. Instead he's going to slide off. I don't like this option because it does afford an opportunity. He's got two options here, the 14 or the 2. 2 goes in the side and and the far corner, as does the 14. I think the 14 would be my preferred choice, just because it's slightly off straight. Yeah, Chuck opted in for the 14 there. Always difficult when you slow down the speed of the stroke, because it can throw the ball off. So when you're trying to slow roll a ball there, you kind of you do lose your stroke a little, which is why it's good sometimes just to play that at a normal pace. She pushes into a very nice position. You know, the 12 to the 2 now, and then the 2 to the 9 or the 1 ball. And he put himself in good shape here. Needs that to roll on a bit further. Oh man, that's tough. Now he's going to have to come back and forth if he wants to continue to hold position or go into the balls. His choice. Yeah, just by that extra bit of pace coming back and forward, push the ball offline. We'll get a score update in a moment, guys. I will get a score update at the end of this rack. The players are slightly distracted by the other finals that are going on. They're doing the announcements. John Lehman is hard to ignore. Not just his hair, but his voice. I think Chuck just taking a break here while this announcements are going on. Also fishing out his extension. I think he's going to need his extension for this shot. Yeah, took his extension there, and that made that shot just a little bit more difficult. It was difficult in the first place, but you'll probably now see Sammy just preserve that 9 ball. Doesn't want to roll forward too much here, but also wants to leave himself so that he can put some draw on this ball. Yeah, didn't play that great. That's difficult. I think he may have blocked himself with the rack here. Nice safety option there. Really not affording much. Sammy does have the option of just playing either the first or second ball. That'll push a ball down to the rail and should leave him nice and frozen to the pack here. Opting for the 8. Yeah, opened up a few more balls there, and safety now is really tough. He's left that frozen. The 8 ball and cue ball are touching. May have the option of the combo, the 11-6, depending on how aggressive he wants to be. Sorry guys, I don't want to disturb the players. Last score update was 41-13. I believe Sammy got the lion's share of the last one too. So we're looking at 50. Approximately 50 to 20. That's just me. I can't really see the beads from here. I think it might be 21. 21-49. He is playing that, despite the no bueno. Yeah, that was a thin cut. But I feel like the safety was that good that Chuck really had no option. Now he does have a couple of options. Can play the 2 off the 1 ball, or the 3 ball. It's up to him. He's choosing to go for the 1 ball direct. Clears the pocket out. Well, that was always a danger with that type of shot, playing at that kind of speed. I think he felt like the 2 ball was a little bit more difficult, playing it off the 1. David's got one of my videos of my 129 ball run. I don't think I was in shape for any of my break balls, I'll be honest. So probably best I don't call any end patterns. What Del Sim does is put ball in hole, hope for best. Wow, nice recovery. Nice recovery there. More difficult shot on the 2. But now he's back in prime position. He shouldn't really get out of position after this. Couple of options now. Could probably play the 14, just drift down for the 11 or the 3. Really needs to look at an option to split those 6 balls, so the 6 ball cluster in the middle there. This is nice. Can play the 15 and follow. There is an opportunity to do that, or stun up and stun up into the 7. His choice, purely preference. Yeah. Now he's got the perfect angle off this 7. Can disturb the cluster and perhaps leave himself a shot. I mean, he has. If he doesn't quite like the angle, if it's maybe a bit steep, he can obviously use the 5 to get a bit of a better one, but it looks like he's going to opt for it now. Good, played it at a nice soft speed. Didn't really need to do too much there. Getting some multiple options. It's funny that he's not had much success with the rake, and this is one that he could have used his extension for. What do I know? Been fortunate, it's not going to be easy queuing, but has the 4 ball. 4 ball should squeeze into the side pocket as long as the 11's not obstructing it. Good to see support for both players in the chat. I'd say there's an equal amount for both Sammy and Chuck. people watching. There's a fair old crowd over here at Amsterdam as well from the sidelines. Well, looks like the 4 didn't go, so taking the option of the 9. Played a nice shot there. That actually opens up the rack very nicely. Because once he plays the 3 now, everything has a pocket. He could even leave this, you know. He could leave this and wait for a better angle. I actually like playing the 6 and coming 1 rail. Back for the 13 or the 1. Preserving the 8 as my break ball. Yeah, choosing to go for the side pocket there. Playing the 11. Almost left it short. I believe he still has the 10 ball. It was a little risky there. May also have the 3 ball if he doesn't have the 10. Yeah, looks like the 10 doesn't go, so using his chance now to take the 3. Going a little bit more. Again, when you let the cue ball go like that, you kind of you are trusting a little to luck. Whereas if he'd have taken the 6 that shot prior, he would have left an option of 2 or 3 balls instead of just leaving 1. Now he's in the territory of, you know, disturbing his break ball, you know, just to keep the run going here. He's called the 10. Wow, played that nice. Still not in prime time position. However, the 6, the 4, 6 is a combo. If he doesn't like this shot, it really doesn't need to do too much. Wow, beautiful, beautiful shot. Show him why he's in the final, guys. You know, he's played this consistent all the way through. Yeah, calling the 6. Not sure why he went follow there, but he's really chasing the rack. He's been chasing it for a while, trying to get back in key shape. Yeah, I have to agree with David. He could have made a break ball there nicely, but chose to follow instead of coming on and off the rail. Oh, that's a nice shot too. Played at pocket speed, allowed every opportunity for the ball to take there. Had he have played that any harder, you could have seen the ball spit that out. Opting against the leap and salmon, unbelievable. After all the hype it's got, choosing instead to come 2 rails, maybe 3. Didn't want to bump the 8 ball there. Although Chuck saying that, you know, giving his opponent a nice compliment there, Sammy himself is a little bit annoyed that he's chasing the rack here. But he's put him in the chair. And what's the score there, Sammy? Sammy, what's the score, buddy? Sammy, sorry, bud. No, he's in the zone, so he's not listening. I'll try and get a score update for you guys shortly. Wow, he played that great. Very nice shot. And he's afforded himself the... let me just check on the result. Just a score update there, guys. It's Sammy has really taken the assertion there, taken the dominance. He's leading 80 to 16. So he's formed a 64-point lead. He really deserves all the credit because he really has been the aggressor in this match and has kept an eager Chuck sat in his chair. Has an option here to play the 10. This is again, this is going to blow the rack wide open. Oof. Didn't quite get there. Now Chuck really needs to take a deep breath. Oh, here we go. He's taking a break. So there's the deep breath. Sammy's going to take the opportunity now. I think he's a wise choice there. Definitely a wise choice. Showing his experience, he's just going to take a breath. Knows he's trailing by a few points. We'll try and keep you going right now. I think Sammy might need the break as well. Take a breath. I'm going to do the same while I have the option. The Stella well is empty. Okay guys, back in the booth. Chuck just putting his glove back on. Had his moment to recoup. Playing up the table now, like I said before, this is Chuck's opportunity now to make a statement. Needs to run a good 20-30 balls just to get himself back feeling good. Chuck attacking the two. Sure, the three goes, so he's left himself a harder option than he would have liked. As the 14. Really needs to just settle down and get into a rhythm here. Danny Baruti in the chat, everyone. Legend of the game. Not just here at Amsterdam, but globally. I'd love to have him in the booth here right now. Especially if he's comparing me to Rex Harrington, whoever that might be. Oh, Rex Harrison. Rex Harrison. Still no idea who that is. Nice shot there. Chuck just settling down into this game. Wants to leave himself an angle on that 10. We'll try and preserve the 6, but just needs to bump out the 7 and 3 there. Yeah, definitely do it off this shot. Wants to play this with some vigor, play with a little bit of pace, just to make sure that the cue ball isn't frozen. Obviously push this through nice and fast. What that's done is preserve the 6. Has an option of the 7 as well if he doesn't like the 6 being too close. And he's in good shape here. A couple of good key balls as well. The 4 and the 3 are nice. Yeah, I'm going to agree with Danny. That 15 is just it's out there in the middle of nowhere, not really helping his cause. Unless he's going to use it as his key to the key. Getting rid of a good one now. Getting rid of that 11 was in a precarious position as well. I think now we're definitely gonna see which ball he prefers, either the 7 or the 6 as his break ball. They call me M patterns because I have no clue about M patterns, but I think Chuck might be taking a leaf out of my book here. Just playing the table as it lies. Oh, using all the pocket there. Didn't want to clip that 7, but it's turned into a bit of a winner. Because it's right over the middle pocket now. Just needs to draw this into the center of the table. And he's perfect on the 6. What a funny old game this is. Chose not to use draw, just to use a little bit of follow. Leaving a slightly more distance than I would have liked. But still, all the same, got himself a good option there. Get a score update for you guys. What's the score, Sammy? He had a look and then walked away. Didn't bother telling me. Score? Score is 82-28. Opposite numbers on the board. But let's see a good innings here by Chuck. Not just for himself, but for the crowd here watching. A lot of support here in the room. Yeah, played a nice soft draw shot there. Not doing too much, just concentrating on the pot. And as such, he's left himself a good couple of options here. Wouldn't really be worried about preserving a break ball right now, just purely because there's a couple of clusters that he's going to need to take care of. Namely the 8 and 9, just in the corner there. Not sure if either goes clean. Going to choose to take the 10, play the 10 up table. It's close. We're currently on table 4 at the moment. The straight ball final is being played on 4 and 5. The team 9 ball is using 9 and 10, and 3 and 2 are out of commission, just to stop traffic coming through this way. So giving the players a nice bit of privacy. Let's see what he does here. With the angle he's got on the 11, he's got the opportunity to split a few more balls into play. But I don't think he's got an insurance ball. Ooh. A little bit in two minds there. Looked like he changed his mind on the shot, whether he was going forward or back. And as such, he gives Sammy an easy opportunity back at the table that he shouldn't have had. Still some problems to work with. So what Sammy's doing now is just evaluating the table, seeing where he's going to make his move. Looks like he wants to leave himself an angle on this 12 ball, and he's going to use that to disturb the rest of the pack. Has the option to do it now and play in the combo. Just come up high of the second diamond. He might be a bit straight on this try. Even still, he could still force this through and create a bit of separation. I wonder if he's thinking he can play the 2, play the 8 ball onto the rail and push forward onto the 9. That could be an option. Although I don't like that. I don't like that option myself. I think either way off this 3 ball, he's going to have to try and come high, play for the 7 or the 4. Off the 5, my apologies. I like playing the 4. I'm trying to leave it high on the 14. If I can leave it high on the 14, then I have the opportunity there to come down and break up this 8 and 9, knowing that I've got the 1 ball. What I'm also doing there is preserving the 7, should I need that as a break ball, if nothing else really presents itself. Chose to play it flat, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with playing it flat on that side. He may well be able to push the 3 into another break position, another break ball. So that will give him a couple of options. We'll soon see, you know, how straight he is on the 14 here, whether he's able to do that. Say choosing to obliterate any possibility of a break ball, knowing that he can, if all else fails, he can obviously use the 8 ball. Let's see if this is a combo. Nope, giving up the 8 to try and get a better position on the 14 here. Again, losing that slightly, so slightly too high. Still has options. All is not lost. This is the thing when you're chasing key position, you know, and he's looking at a real pinpoint place. If he wants to. The other option he has here is leaving a ball in the rack. So both balls are in the rack here, and using the 9 ball as his key ball to try and leave a shot to come 2 rails back into the pack. Does have that option. Although the 3-ball now, he could roll. He could get a nice roll here and just push the 15 into a good spot, which is exactly what he's tried to do. Very nice. Now just needs to kill the 9-ball off the rail, and he's turned something ugly into a very nice end pattern. See him there, just killed the cue ball. That was could have done with a bit of a lighter touch, but he's still okay. Has enough of an angle where he can force this over. We'll be aiming at the last ball of the rack here, the corner ball on the rack. So score, Sammy? 92-42? 32. So maintaining that 60-point gap, 92 plays 32. And I think the frustration on Chuck's face is obvious as he just settles himself back into his chair. And you look at Sammy, looks focused. Ooh. Just slightly, you know, kind of looking at that angle. Just didn't kill the cue ball enough off that last 9-ball and tried to force an angle that really wasn't there. Still sitting pretty is Sammy, you know, 60 points up in a race to 150. Again, Sammy comes to the table with not really a lot to look at. I mean, it's not a pretty rack at all. You know, 2 balls on the rail, a little cluster here at the bottom, and no obvious break shot. And when you're trailing, just taking the option there to play safe. Not really left much there for Sammy. But when he's in his position, he really doesn't want to be leaving the table after one visit. When you're behind like that, you really need to find some rhythm, and you only get that by being at the table. Really needs like a few open racks would be lovely. Still, Sammy deserves the lead. Definitely been the better player of the two, both in defense and offense. He's calling the 2-ball here. Doesn't go clean, but is he going to play it off the 15? When you've got a 60-point lead, you really do just try the craziness in there. And he's left the ball, the 10 and the 14. I think he'll just follow this rather than going into the pack. Does have the option of both. Now he really needs to needs to play this rack out. All the issues are taken care of. The only thing he really needs to worry about is creating a break ball, which could happen quite easily if he opens the pack up. Just taking his time to settle himself. Another player just stuck his bum in his face. Never nice. To play the 7 first. I don't think the 6 goes clean, which is a shame because he would have preferred to take the 6. Just bumping that, leaves himself to 2. Could have gone wrong. I would have hated it to gone wrong because Chuck really deserves some roll to go his way right now. So just push the 15 out the way. Again, if he wants to be aggressive, he can go into the pack here if he wants to use a draw shot. does have a couple of insurance balls as well on the 14. And if he does glance, if he glances a 3, then he still has the option of the 12 as well. Like I say, really needs to trust his stroke now. Really needs to trust his rhythm. Yeah, lovely. Again, just when he's in this type of position, you know, even just breaking one ball out of there is good. One at a time, just keeping to his work. I mean, he can go into the pack again here. Again, just depends on his preference. There we go. Just moving balls around nicely. A couple of options here. Can play the 8 into the side and just push the 11 across. Or a soft draw. A soft draw on the 15 here should do the same effect. Just really needs to kill this cue ball. Beautiful. Created a couple of options there, and this rack should be out now. Needs to settle on his cue ball, what his cue ball is going to be. I think the 11's just sitting on the line, so it's not quite far enough out of the rack, which means that he's going to be forced into, I think, using the 3 ball. The 3 ball looks like his best option right now. Thanks to everyone on the stream for joining us tonight. This is the final of the gold division, race to 150. Score currently 92-32 in favour of Sami Islam. So Chuck is chasing the game. He is feeling the pressure a little. Needs to settle down into a rhythm if he's going to make any go of this match. We'll see very soon what choice he's going to make on his break ball. Ooh. Lapse of concentration. Happens to the best of us, but when you've been in that chair as long as Chuck has, it's not unfounded to have this type of reaction. We'll soon see what Sami likes. May well leave the 5 ball. We may see a side pocket break shot if he chooses to leave the 3 where it is. It just depends what's going to afford him the best positional value. Needs another bounce. Not ideal. However, I do happen to know that Sami does love this type of break shot. We'll just draw it into the center of the table and use a high right to come into the side of the pack. Let me see if I can grab a score update for you. It's 95-43. So we should see Sami break through the 100 during this rack. Again, just watch the cue ball arc. So you'll see the cue ball arc off the top off the side rail. Just push out a couple of balls. Again, not playing it too hard, leaves himself a couple of options. Has the 5, which would probably be my preference because it would take me high rather than the 4 ball, which is going to keep me a little low in the rack. Opting for the 4 ball. We'll soon see where his preference is at, whether he's going to leave a combo or take the 5 in the side. He does have another option of playing the 1 ball here and coming back up into the rack. That's what it looks like he's settled on. Difficult shot. The 1 ball there was frozen, so I think it needed a little bit of English just to turn that ball. Instead, you could see he played it plain ball. And again, has left the option. And trading innings right now, going back and forth. Nobody really making a high run. They seem to be trading, you know, between 10 and 14 balls per inning, going either way. Definitely think Chuck should trust his instinct and just let his potting game come to the forefront. Right now I think he's playing a little reserved, a little cagey. And again, that could be just because of the point deficit. He doesn't want to make a mistake. Sometimes letting your stroke out and just letting your natural game come to the forefront is what's in order for this type of thing. My highest run came when I was 80 points behind. Back in the UK, they call it loser's stroke. So when you know you're losing and you're close to losing, should I say? You kind of free stroke. You know, the pressure's off. You've got nothing to lose, so why not? Has a couple of issues here. I think once he plays a 15, I think the 6 actually does go. Once he clears a 6, that will free up. That will free up the 14 just above it. That's nice. The shot for me, the end pattern that I like here, and this is only for Steve Kurtz, is coming up for the 9 next, playing the 3 and then following the 3 down towards the 8, playing the 8 in the side. So the 8 would be my key ball. I think, yep, Chuck might have heard me. He's going the same route. Needed a bit more power on that. Needed to be straight. Needed to be on the side rail there. Should have really given that a lot more draw to get to the side rail. Played it a bit more confidently. Yeah, as it was there, I mean, he had to go into that, and has instead created a very nice position. The 8 ball is still good. Looking at is where he wants his ball. Has the angle to do that. This is nice. If you see there what he's done with his cue in terms of like he's circled, just kind of circled with the tip of his cue. Some people do that, you know, as a visualization tool, just to make sure that if you can visualize where you want your cue ball, it does help. Because for those of you out there watching or who struggle with position play, visualization is key because it almost imprints in your memory. So a lot of pull is actual muscle memory. So when you look at a particular shot, it's your subconscious that plays that shot. So if you visualize that you want the cue ball to be in the middle of the table within the score update there in the middle of my story, 97 to 57. So Chuck pushing his way back into this match, which is nice. Leaving himself a lovely break shot here. Is one of my favorites. Gets the pack nice and wide open. You can use a follow or a draw into this. Doesn't matter, either or. Opting for a nice soft spin. Creates a lovely secondary break ball on both sides. So has an option now to go into the pack again. Choosing 11 because I think it affords a better insurance rather than going in from the other side. Yeah, you should see a bit more power into that one. Lovely. Yeah, and just going back to the visualization tools, you know, what it is, your subconscious and your muscle memory, you know, will work in tandem. If you can kind of create that that imaginary path of the cue ball in your mind's eye. Probably sounds like I'm rambling now, but I am onto something here. As I'm talking, Chuck's just making some light work of this, just taking away, separating the rack. This is a nice rack to have. All the balls are together. Currently, Chuck's only three racks behind, so if he can string a couple here together, he's right back in this. Going to his extension. Just weird that you see with the Predator. I don't know if that's a custom extension he has. I don't think it's the Predator one because I believe that you don't need to remove the rubber to have it on there. Kind of reduces your transition time if you want to keep a nice flow going. No break ball options right now. If I was to hazard a guess, I would say that we may see a break ball from below the rack. Just depends how this one pans out. Nice shot there. Seeing the reaching for his extension again. I can tell that 'cause he's taking his rubber off just off camera. Needs to be careful here because he's going to be running into a ball, probably the 4 ball. So just needs to make sure he doesn't get too close to the 3 and leaves himself an option. Yeah, that's what I was scared of. That's what I was worried about because now he's going to have to play the 4-4-2 combo. It's probably the easiest option he's got. Well, opting to put a little bit of a masse on this shot. Masse to swerve the 2 in. Nice shot. Played it with outside English. Lovely. Can come one rail here and just choosing the light option. personally, I'd be leaving the 15 next. So 3 to 15. 15 in the side. That opens up the 6 and the 1. Choosing to come the other side of it, prefers to play it into the wider pocket rather than the side pocket. Also has a 6 available here. The 6 might be able to bump something left and right. I don't know. I don't know if I like the 13 right now. 6 is a choice. Like I say, take what the table gives you. You'll probably find that it'll play 15, then across the table, just to play the 13, then leave the 1 ball as the break ball. As I predicted earlier, with the layout of that rack, it was always going to look like a low break ball was going to be the winner on this side. It's interesting. It's interesting he did that. You know, he only needed to stun that ball and leave it dead. I don't know how far in the 7 is there, but I think the 7 is slightly too close to the rack for it to be a break ball. Personally, I think he should have left it straight on the 7, stunned it in, and then he would have had a nice on and off the rail shot. I don't think he's going to be able to control the cue ball here. Wowza, look at this. Look at this, people. This is some shot. I don't think it's going to pay off, but... Nope, I think that's just in the rack. So that's going to send the cue ball. It's going to send the cue ball up table. Maybe, or maybe not. He's throwing his arms up in the air. So I do believe that 1 ball, that cue ball, sorry, is going to go up table. And we're going to see a safety. See it? Getting called over for a ref's decision. Give me a second. Just confirming there that ball was on the rack. Anything touching the line, and that has to come out. It was a great effort by Chuck there to try and get 2 rail position up and down. Really not easy to do something like that. But I think it was a poor positional choice when he played the 13. Had a kind of a better option. What you'll see now is he'll roll into the 1 ball, try and freeze on the 1, and just push a ball down here. These can go wrong so often, but he actually chose to play the 6 there instead. And that's about as good as you can get it. Not frozen, so you'll probably see him just play to the side rail. Wants to try and make sure he doesn't leave a combo. This will all be about touch. Yeah, doesn't want to come too high off the rail there. Again, easy safety option. You know, can play the 10 here and just leave the ball frozen. It's up to him. As it is, I think he's going to float on and off the rack, which he didn't need to do, but really wants to put him in a tough spot. A little bit of risk in that, because he could have easily just left the 14 there if he'd have played it bad pace. Nice to see John shot in the room. John recovering from a monster hangover, I'm sure. judging by the text I got at 4 a.m. Yeah, Sammy just again playing a risky shot. I mean, you can come on and off the rail there, which is is a nice shot. Play it a little harder. As I believe, if he's left a piece of this 14, it might go off the 11. The same for the 7. The 7 goes past the 14. He can combo the 11 ball. As you've seen before, Chuck is proficient on the combo. Just depends on how aggressive he wants to be. Definitely strung a couple of balls together. He strung a couple of racks together. Sorry, he's put himself right back in this match. Got Sammy thinking. So I'm not surprised we're seeing a bit of safety here. Yep, watching the shot. Sammy's going to hit the. He's going to try and make the 8. So he'll be jacked up on this. I'm also watching the shot. It's good. It's good. Played a good shot. No double hit call there. I think Chuck will be upset. He even left a shot. I think the 2 ball goes as well, which is another kick in the teeth. Everything really going in favour of Sammy this match, which is when you're at the table, it feels great when you've got the rolls on your side. In most games, they do swing both ways. I also heard that Troy swings both ways, but that's a story for another day. Couple of options here again. I don't really like playing the combo 1-9, which I think is what he's looking at, because the 9 is slightly away from the corner edge. He would need to hit it perfect. So I think that's why he's looking at the option of the 5 instead. Again, Sammy just going to make his way through this rack. I'd just be picking balls off until it's more apparent for a break ball to come to the forefront. Again, doesn't really need to do too much with the cue ball. Has the 9. I'm pretty sure the 9 still goes. But when you've got all that table to play for, you really don't want to be leaving yourself in this type of position where you're limiting yourself to one option. A good key and a good tip for break building and especially in straight pull is try and leave yourself more than one option. Especially when there's a lot of balls on the table still. Playing for pinpoint position every time is just going to leave you problems. So if you can play for more than one ball, put yourself into an area rather than the point, then you'll find that your runs will start to get higher and higher. Making a nice job here of just clearing the pack away. Just picking away at this. Take the 13 next. I think the 6 is not just... I don't think it's that high, but I think the 6 might be a nice break ball if he's got nothing else. Ooh. Me and my big mouth. Might have pushed it just a little too far. I do like the option of playing the 4 here, so playing the 4 and actually pushing the 12 over. Don't think he's seen that. Just weighing up his options right now. I think if he plays this 15, it could come across and bump either the 12 or the 4 into a break ball. Didn't play it in that way. So I think we'll see that the 14 is going to be his break ball now. Or it certainly would be mine in this position. Play the 6, 6-4, and then 14. Two options. You can either draw behind this or go forward. Personally, I like to go forward. As long as you can go forward and just avoid the kiss on the 14. When playing this type of shot, it's always good to aim for the rail. You know, don't try and float it through without a rail. There we go. Beautiful. On and off the rail. That plays it great. He's in dead punch right now. Breaks the 100 barrier. Looks like we're at 100 to... Right now, 111. 111 plays 68. Again, just pushing out that lead, trying to maintain at least a 50 ball lead. And it looks like he has the opportunity to get more now. Personal preference on this shot, I do like to follow. Probably play a high right if you can. Very nice. He's played that and really spread the rack wide open. Okay, no obvious break shot, but I'm sure throughout the course of this rack, as he splits up that little cluster, it could easily present itself. Now just needs to decide how he's going to split the table up. Again, the books say that you should take care of the bottom of the table first, or top of the table, sorry. Ooh. Maybe that rack wide open and just a little lack in concentration. I hate to say it, but Chuck running out of options really needs to put a score on the board. Even if it's just a couple of racks, and then plays a good safety. Needs to stay in control. Needs to stay in control of this table. Saying that, I've never missed a shot whilst I've been sat in this chair. So for me, it's easy. But being out there, people, this is the final, remember? So there's added pressure there. Playing for first place of the coveted Amsterdam 14.1 League trophy, especially in the gold division. It's definitely one for the resume. He's left himself a little straight here. You know, it's not the best shot. You never want to be straight in. We'll see what type of shot he tries, whether he's going to play a long draw shot. Okay. Has the 11. Has the 11, and he can play to break up the cluster here as well. If he chooses to play the 11, that is, which is definitely the easiest shot he has. Rather than back cutting a 9 to a blind pocket. Should play this with a nice medium firm pace. Yeah, missed the breakout, but has created a break ball in the process, which is a nice thing always. That 5 is a nice break ball. Going to play the bank. Oh, that was tough to take from there. Yeah, that one's going to hurt. Sammy just taking the option there to take a break, which he's entitled to do. Both players now taking their break. And I think Sammy just really driving the knife home off that miss. It's going to make Chuck sit and think about it. I'm just going to take a break myself. I'm going to go and find the Stella Fairy. I know she's walking around here somewhere, waiting to bring me beer. Sorry about that, guys. Stepping back in. Comes to the table. Sammy's at the table. Looking to extend his lead now. Not sure how much he has to do with the. Me personally, I'd love to preserve that 5 ball, but I think he's going to have to dip into it now and break up that cluster. Only left himself the 3. I don't think the 2 goes from where he is. So he'll be reaching over playing that. Has an angle just to bump into the 4 ball. Because he'll be playing this with a little bit of outside. I mean, at least I don't think he can reach the 2. It certainly doesn't look like it from where I'm sat. Maybe he can play a little bit of twist, a little bit of inside, and just hock it around that ball. Which is what he tried, and I think he just rushed it a little. I mean, but look at the leave. Wow. Really, when it's going your way, it's going your way. Chuck just hangs his head, sat in a chair thinking, what have I got to do to get a roll here? Despite a player walking right by him at the time, it was one of the players from the silver bronze section. Really wasn't looking where he was going. Chuck makes a great shot there to start the rack. Just needs to keep it together. I wonder if this 3 is low enough. The way he's shaping up, it looks like the 3 is low. And he's going to use that as his break ball. Looks like it's a little close for me, but we'll soon find out. Again, I think he's come a little high on the 6. When it rains, it pours. Coming this side of the 3 is very precarious. Would have preferred to be the other side of it. Choosing to play what the table gives him. Let's wait and see if he's got enough purchase to be able to make this 3. I think he will, because the line is slightly deceiving. There is a double line on that rack there, so it is a little higher than what that first line might actually show us right now. What's the score there, Chuck? 79, is that? What was the score? Sorry, buddy. $79 to $114. Just putting a quick score update for you guys. As it did seem like that 3 ball was, you know, precariously close to the rack, which means that he obviously missed it thick, which just slightly pushed the ball out. Now you look at Sammy's opener. It's far easier than what Chuck's have been. Rolls this one in nicely. Really wants to try and leave himself a secondary break ball, and ideally he needs to be on the other side of the 1 ball here to do that. So you may see him take the 3 as an option. Chose to attack it off the 3 ball, which I didn't really like doing because it was always going to keep the cue ball low on this end of the table. I would have probably liked to have drawn, so played a draw shot and tried to get closer to the a little closer to the 1 ball there. Hey Kevin, this is Del Sim. It's not Mike on this side, unfortunately. Or maybe I do sound like Mike. I don't think Sammy's really got much of an option here. Looking at it, should really play safe. But he has been aggressive this whole match. So why change a winning formula? May well see him attack the 5 ball here. Doesn't see another good safety option, so choosing to attack. Yeah, that was a real tough shot. And again, Chuck can turn the screw here. He can definitely make it tight. 6. Sammy needs 36. Chuck still requiring 71. So he's still got a healthy lead. But a good score here will certainly help Chuck's cause. I want to try and leave an angle to disturb this. You know, that's personally why I like maybe just rolling the 11 in and leaving myself a better angle on the 15 or the 4. There we go. Just using it to kill the ball there. There you go. He's got a better option now. Could even use the 5 as well. Might be good. Just want to check it. Just check it. Oh, that's good. Back. It just said interrupted for a second. I think it's just come back on. That's good. Yeah, I'm draining it too. Sorry. Is everybody's stream still working on your side? I think we had a little interruption there. Changing over battery packs. Chuck playing a nice shot there. Left himself, he has I think he has a 12. Yep, has a 12. Just trying to play a smooth shot. Played it nice. Thank you, Kevin. The stream is still up. You're still hearing me well. Chuck at the table. Ooh, using all of the pocket. Wow. Really needs to settle down. It's everything is tense right now. You can sort of see it in his stroke. You can sort of see it in his face as well. We should see a nice little secondary break. Playing on table 4 here, Kevin. 4 and 5 being used as the finals tables. as it stands now, could use the 10 as the break ball. Has the 9 and the 10. I think the 4 is just slightly inside the rack, maybe touching the line. So I don't think that's an option. Pattern now should be 13. Should have been a bit higher. As it stands, I don't think you can see the 9. If you can, that's a win. Slightly adjust the end pattern. Use the 9 to the 4. Again, just came a bit far on the 4 there. Still has the option of coming around behind it. Play this 4 and come to the end rail, side rail, and back out. That way, he just wants to be on the, as we look at it, he wants to be on the left-hand side of the 10. And the best way to do that is obviously using the 1 ball instead of the 4. So he is going to use a 4, take the slightly harder shot, but it does afford the better end pattern. So I'm just going to go forward and behind this. Perfect. There we go. Now he can just drift down off the 1. Needs to come low, so he needs to finish low of the 10 ball. Doesn't really want to come to touching the rail, so this is going to have to be a good touch shot. We're just going to float this down. Yeah, doesn't want to played it hard, and that was a difficulty there, because the way he finished, he couldn't use the rail for shape. He had to float. So now I think we will see a safety, and you'll see Sammy stuck on the back of the pack. Yeah, calling the safe. Just glue him to the back of the pack here. That's not glued, but just about enough. Really getting into the crux of the match now. Try and get a score update for you guys. That's no good. It's off the rail as well, so Sammy can get a good tip on this. And the only danger here is he's going to have to roll forward and try and stay off, keep the cue ball off the rail. Or, if I was a betting man, I'd probably play safe off the 10. So make this 13, play safe off the 10, and leave this cue ball tight on that end rail. I can't for the life of me see him attacking this. Oh my gosh. Again, left him tight on the rail, and rightly so. Chuck throws his hands up in the air and says, "Oh man, can I not get left a nice and easier shot than this?" I think Sammy, he can see the finish line. Playing that 10 was a poor choice, but I can see why he did it. Really wants to turn the knife in. I'll just see if I can get a score update while Chuck washes his hands. second. Just turned into a two-rack game from earlier in the match when Sammy was leading by more than 60 points. Chuck's actually done a very nice job of just hanging on to the coattails, and that's partly been from Sammy taking some extravagant aggressive shots rather than playing a lock-up safe. Again, every time Sammy's missed, Chuck's really only had a look at a long, tough straight ball. And more often than not, when Sammy's had an opportunity, he's had an easier shot. 26 points the difference now. So Chuck's brought it to within 2 racks, which is nice. Certainly going to make it a good finish for the viewers watching. Look at this for a shot. Beautiful. Really giving himself every opportunity now of breaking the pack open. I don't know if he's a little too steep. He may just miss the pack. But you can definitely come 2 rails if he's going to miss it off 1. Going to try and draw if it off no rails. Made the pot that much harder because he was jacked up. Now Chuck finally gets a look at an easy ball. This could be the swing that we were talking about earlier. Chuck's going to need to make a bit of a move here. Just not sure which ball he's going to take it off. I think the 5 does go. 5 would be a great secondary key ball if he is going to use the 5. Could swing this off 2 rails. Chose to attack off 1. He's given him a nice option. Has the 6, has a 14, has the 2. And he has a nice line of balls that will open up once he starts making the rack a bit more open. Has a 7 ball right now. 4 can take the 4. The 4 is slightly harder, but it does afford a little better positional value because he'll be able to go 2 rails instead of 1. If he uses a 7, he's going to have to put a lot of draw on this ball. A lot of outside English to get it back. Instead opts just to take the safe option and play at 1 rail for a more difficult 6. From the 6, he should really he should leave the 11. 11's his best break shot right now, but He's going to have to take it now, I believe. Needs to keep all his focus and concentration now, especially in the latter stages of this match. So he's playing a force follow. Yeah, I mean, I do and I don't like playing it that way because he has a one ball now. Looking at the combo off the 8. Doesn't like the frozen combo. Sorry, the frozen carom. So instead, looking to play this one ball straight down the rail. From here, he should find himself with a better cue ball. Hit the rail high. Definitely hit the rail high, but had enough purchase that it was in pocket speed. If he was thinking about playing that carom, then that tells me that the 9 ball does go, which is closest to the 8. However, I wonder if he's going to just use the 11. Just bring this cue ball out into center table. Still a little straight, but he's got a little angle, which is going to help him. In doing so, I think he should just graze off the 9. So graze off the 9, bump, and then bump into the 12. He should be able to split this pack open nicely. Very nice. Has a 12 to the side. Also has a 4 ball. 5 has presented itself as a lovely, lovely break shot. So my preference here is to play the 12 in the side, and draw it back for the 8. The only reason I use the draw shot is because it allows you to put a stroke on the ball. Rather than trying to kill it where it is, if you do that, you can often make the stroke quite stabby. If you try and stab it and leave a lice, you know. As it is, he tried to slide it to the opposite side of the 8, so there must have been a bit more angle than I was thinking. So again, he's left with a couple of options here. Eight ball's tougher than the 5. Definitely wants to preserve that 5 if he can. Played a nice shot. Doesn't really want to make that. That could be a nice cue ball now if he leaves that over the pocket. It's on the same side as the 5. If he can swing this off 2 rails and leave himself low, would be good. Or if he has a confident draw stroke, he could play the 4 now and leave himself an angle to come 2 rails behind the 5 off the 9. All depends on what his preference is. Let's see. Wow, he's taking the 5 now. This is the wrong choice for me, but let's see what he comes up with. Personally, I think the 9 is too low. You see his cue line where he's looking to leave the ball. He's kind of limited his option here, but ideally he would like to leave it in line with the 9. So in line with the 9 and just in line with the center pockets. So whether he chooses to come 1 rail or 2, I think 2 rails might be the better option, because then you're coming into the line of the shot rather than across it. All about preference. Maybe just use a soft outside. Yeah, he does like to use a bit of English on this one. And this will work. It will work. But he's going to be going into just one ball. And when you do that, you are kind of limiting your options in terms of what's going to come off the rack. He's probably going to play it a little harder than he wants to.
118, 103.
So 118 now, 118 to 103. Chuck doing a great job of moving it to within just 15 points. So if Chuck were to run out another rack, we'd have a 1-point game right now. Sammy just played that nicely. He's got his roll. Finally got his little bit of roll. Had that not have hit the middle pocket, he would have been frozen on that end rail, and he'd have been looking at a much more difficult shot than this. Awesome. I'm going to see him use the 7 ball here. So use the 7. But he's going to have to play this with a lot of pace. I mean, he has a couple of options. I mean, he might be able to swing round behind and use the 2 ball. The 2 ball is certainly the better option because it will certainly afford him a better breakout. But personally, this 7, he's going to really have to swing it in. A lot of pace. Which is why I think you'll see him float around 2 angles and try and leave the 2 instead. Oh. He's got the 8 ball. He's good. Nice shot. Nice shot, just controlling the rock. Has the 1 ball in the side or the 4 long. His choice. He's going to split the balls and try the 15 instead. Personally, I like splitting the balls up off the 1 ball, but again, not everyone likes a side pocket when it's a little bit more acute. So instead, just choosing to play it a little light. I think you'll see him just draw on and off the rail here. Had enough English where he could just, had enough angle where he could just hold that. Although his options are becoming pretty limited as this rack goes on, because the 14 doesn't go. Maybe he may choose to play the 3 now. It is frozen to the rail, so that does make, he is going to let Whitey go. Played a nice shot. I mean, he was very limited in what he could do there. If he can see the 2 ball, then now's the time. Now's the time to really open this rack up. I like the 2 and the break shot. Nice comment there, Mike Grosso. Glad to see you're enjoying this. This is really getting down to the wire now. I think we're going to see a real fast challenge to make it to 150 now. We could see a tie game very soon. A couple of balls there are split to the rails, and no evident break ball. I like getting rid of the 3 as soon as possible, because the 3 will open up some options for the 5 and 14. Should be what you should come down for now. But again, running out of options on a break ball. This could be nice. I mean, if he could play the 13 now. Get low on this 5, then he can actually bump the 14 into a break ball position whilst floating across for the 11. All about this shot now. This is the key shot of the rack. Didn't get low enough, so maybe that wasn't his intention. Either way, he's left a 14, so it looks like the 14 will be next. Try and float away. The 11's actually a good break ball. So out of the options I have left, I would definitely believe in the 11. A cut shot on the 11 to go into the side of the pack. Now he's going to have to find a way to get up to the 12. A nice... He could follow, so he could follow with a high right, or he could come back with a draw shot. Just again, depends what he's comfortable with. From what I've seen, he does like to follow the ball. That's generally the best option when you're going. A little bit pacey. Now he's in trouble. Just depends where your bottle is now, you know, how good's your bottle? Because there's no real safety option here. Well, of course, there's always a safety option, but he's going to have to be creative. I quite like pushing the 12 on and off the rail, on and off the side rail, and just drifting the cue ball down towards this corner pocket. That would leave no shot. As it is, it looks like he's attacking. Going to play a high English and come all the way back down. Yeah, that was a tough shot to take. But, people, we are within 3 balls. As I believe it stands, it's 115 to 118. Possibly closer. It may even be 116 to 118. Sammy taking a long, hard look at the scoreboard, wondering how he let that lead go. Now it's Sammy who has to tighten up. You probably won't see as many attacking options as you did before. However, he's got no option but to attack on this one. I'll tell you what, people, when you've been sat in your chair for a couple of racks, to come out with a shot like that, playing perfect position for the break ball, that's exactly what you wanted to do. I'm just going to have a score check for you guys. Sammy. Yep, so we've got a 3-point game. That's 119 to 116. Very nice. A couple of options here. It has the 2 ball. Two does go past the 6, I believe. Or has the 1 ball to float in and across. Hey, Mr. Brooks. Chris Brooks signing in. He's got his own playoff match coming up soon, I believe, over in Long Island. Wish those guys the best of luck. That's a very, very tough league as well. Personally, I'd love to see a playoff between Amsterdam's best and Long Island's best over there. That would be an interesting match to watch. Sammy here now just needs to really tighten up. He's been shooting very loose the last few racks. I think he needs to assert his dominance once again and just push out, get as many points as he can on the board without making any kind of silly errors. Hey Mike, I appreciate the comments there, buddy. Like I say, straight pools have become quite a big passion to me. It's definitely, it's probably my favourite game now for playing alone. Also in competition, it's been interesting because it definitely develops your all-around game. I had pizza last night. It was very uninteresting, so I'm not going to talk about that, don't you worry. Sammy has an option here, just leaving nice, coming on and off the rail off the 6, using that 4 ball just to break this pack open. Ideally, just pointing his cue, he'd love to go into that pocket. Similar to a 10-pin bowl. There is pockets as well that we talk about in billiards. He's come a little bit straight there, but still has the option of going up into the pack. There is no insurance ball here. So for me, I'd be using pace over finesse. Really forcing, yeah, you see that ball jump. Had to force that pack wide open. If it gets Troy down Amsterdam, I will definitely set that up. Troy can commentate along with Upstate Al. Ooh, that was a lovely shot on the 8, but he's left himself a bit straight, you know. One thing you never want to be in pool is straight. Always want to leave yourself just a little bit of angle. I think he can force this one on and off the rail. He might have an insurance ball. It's either that or he plays it soft and leaves himself a more difficult shot on the 13.
Hey, handsome.
This is nearly finished.
You stink.
12.
You just smell bad.
So as you can see, he's opted just to leave the longer 13. It's either that or he might even play the 12, because the 12 is a slightly easier shot, because with things like this is when you're going rail to rail, you can often use the long rail as a guide. So it kind of gives you a better guide into the pocket, especially if you're not confident of firing in like a long straight one off the rail. You know, a lot of people tend to twist or jump up on that shot.
You out for lessons? Did you do lessons?
I do.
Yeah? I'm sure you'd be a great coach.
Getting a little bit of fan action from the side. I think, you know, you saw there just the danger of, you know, leaving yourself straight. He had 2 straight ins. Easier when they're down the rail, but when you're coming off the rail and going cross corner like that, it's very easy to get your stroke offline. Okay, again, it looks like this one's going to be chopped down the middle. Going to make 7 balls each. Ooh. Finished a little bit low on that. He still has a chance at the ball, but really didn't get through it. Jennifer, the waitress, to get me another snail. Because my tab is free. Doesn't really have a safety option, so I think we'll see Chuck attacking this one. Looking at the potting angle, we'll try and go around off 2 rails here, maybe 3. The angle is natural. 1, 2, 3. Played it very nice. Has a 3 ball now. Can actually push the 9 ball off 2 rails and back into a break ball position. Now, if that's what he's looking for, and leave himself a shot on the 7. So let's look for a 3-way shot here. Make the 3, push the 9 off 2 rails, leave the 7 in the corner. Almost did it off 1 rail. I'm wondering if he's too straight. Let's look at his body language. Is he straight enough? Okay, if he's straight, he might just try and draw this behind with left-hand side. Clever shot. Left himself in the rack. Cue ball goes to the top, and he will give himself a shot. What is that, 127? What's the score, Chuck? So that's 125 to... Score now is 122 to 127. dispute over the score there, as I imagine this is getting into the tight stages. Keeping it within 5. We're in for a nail biter, folks. Make sure you share this around with everyone in the straight pool community. Let's get these numbers boosted up for Mike. Really getting into the nitty-gritty now. See there, Chuck not really leaving a lot of angle. Yeah, and you could kind of see there wasn't a lot of angle that he left. He was more worried about making the ball. Had he left himself a bit closer to the rail there, it would have been a bit better. As it is, he's going to play safe. Oof. Takes the foul. But in doing so, and taking the foul, he's allowed a ball to slide out, so he has the 5 now. It's not an easy opener, but certainly within Sammy's capability to make this. Chuck slamming his cue down in frustration. Could be a bit of sportsmanship from Sammy's side. Again, playing nice soft sprocket speed, just making sure of the pot. Not sure if the 15 goes in the side. If the 15 does go in the side, he'll certainly play that and let it roll through, because that's going to give him an option to create a secondary break ball. No, it wasn't there. I think his eyes might have deceived him there, because it certainly brushed off the 7 before it hit the 15, so maybe didn't check that one out too quick. Not sure what that was. Maybe this is going to be a safety, because I don't think the 2 goes past the 14. Again, we're seeing very tight straight pull now, which is what you'd expect with just 20 odd points needed by both players. Sammy taking a long hard look at this, but really only needs to just feather off this 4-ball. Feather off this 4-ball and come back and forth into the rack. That's certainly the shot that I would play. You could even leave it tight on this bottom rail. In fact, I think tight on the bottom rail might be the better choice. Same. What is going to be very aggressive? 13, which is the most extreme ball in the rack. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's the highest ball in the rack right now. He's called the 13 in the corner pocket. I mean, this is some shot to play at this stage in the match. I certainly hope Sammy doesn't come to watch this one back and think, what the hell was I doing? Because as I look at it, it's not even close. My God, what an effort. I have never seen such bravery, but also such creativity in that, because that 13 was way offline. And he managed to manipulate that to somewhere within a centimetre of the pocket there. A little twist left and that's in all day. As it is, I think we're currently at a tie game. I think it's 127 apiece, so whoever wins this rack is going to see the ball, see it out. Yeah, got the flick that he needed. A little unfortunate. He has a problem up top. At 2 and 12, I really don't know if there's space behind the 12, behind the 2-ball to hit that 12. So we're going to see what the options are now. Is he going to attack it now? That 12 is inside the rack, so no value in keeping it there. That suggests to me that there is space behind that too. But he didn't get as low as he needed to. There's still an option here to spin this in. He can spin this, or he's looking at the combo option. I actually think he can use a lot of left-hand spin in behind this, but you are losing positional value if you do that from the bottom. If he attacks it from the top and plays the combo, he can almost control position over to the 6 and let the 2-ball go loose. That's the roll he needed, and I think he's got it perfect. Now has just doubled his option. He can actually use the 2-ball. 2-ball is the far better break ball. See if he can just float this out. I would have maybe tried to cheat the pocket a little there and try and get the cue ball a bit further out, because as it is now, if he takes the 4, he's going to be disturbing the 2, and if he takes the 2, he's really going to be swinging this off 2 rails. He needs to bring the cue ball actually back to where it is now. If he plays the 2-ball, bring the cue ball right to where it is now, then he has a chance. If he takes the 4 now, I actually think he's going to be separating the 2-ball. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah. Oh wow, look at this. Look at this, people. If you want to see a swinging roll, that's how you do it. Not sure if that was the intention, but it has worked out perfectly. To you. That's the swing we needed, people. 128 to 134 in favor of Chuck. Chuck takes the lead for the first time in the match. Swung one way, it swung back another. This is a real nail-biting finish. Just as Chuck got out to a little squeeze of a lead, 128 to 134. It looks like a scratch. Oh man. I wonder if that 3-6 is frozen. It might have a 9-3-6 combination. Nothing else I can really see that's presenting itself. The 9-3-6 that you can just see there is just to the left of the pack. Has to play from behind the head string. So I'm wondering, who's looking at the score? The break ball. Yeah, he had the break ball. So head on. As it is now, Chuck really not left many options here. If anything, by scratching, it's actually a good defense. So I think what you're going to see here is back in action. Sorry about that. Just knocked it off. I was trying to call it. Sorry guys, I think we had someone knock the camera there. Yeah. was getting a little bit tense here, so the camera was knocked out of position there. Apologies. We'll try and get it back in a better position for you guys. Yeah, I know, right? There we go. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. We're back in the action. I think Chuck wasn't happy that he was going to play an intentional foul. So instead he went two, maybe three rails just to get back into that safety position. Doesn't really want to leave anything easy for Chuck. So I can see why it was getting a little bit tense. As you can see, guys, the pace of the match has slowed right down as we get into this final 15, 16 points that are required to win the match. Tell you what, guys, we are nearing, well, actually we've broken the 3-hour barrier here, so thanks for those that have tuned in from the start. But we're really getting down to the crux of this now. No easy safety here. Although the way that Sammy's been playing, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the bank on this 7. It's not the hardest bank. It's not the easiest either, but the amount of time that he's been looking at the safety option. The shot for me is he should really just be thinning off the oh, here we go, man. Oh my God, I don't know if you heard me, but he's playing the 7 bank, people. Yeah, played it a little too strong. That was it needed a softer approach than that. It's what it did by playing it that hard. It's checked up off the rail. And now we have Chuck needing 16 points, so he would need the full rack plus more. Taking his time after, you know, being 60 points behind, he's found a way back into this match and now leads. We have to say hats off for his grit and determination. And now Sammy's the one that has to dig his heels in. They've spotted a 6 up there. I wonder if there's no real safety. No real insurance. Should he go off? Should he go into the pack off of this 13? If he does go into the pack, he'll want to thin. He'll want to thin off it. So let's just see if he's going to float this through. I mean, the way he's digging into the rail here, this looks like he's going to be attacking. Yeah. And by jacking up on the cue ball there, you saw it just made the pot much more difficult. Here we are, people. For me now, it's all about who can keep their nerve. Now it's getting real tense. See it on both players. As I was saying, whoever can keep their nerve together now. This has turned into a great final. It's exactly what we wanted to see. Ooh. Oh my God. Back in the UK, we call that 5p, 50p, which I guess is the same as 10 cents, 25 cents, if people get my meaning. Squeaky bum time. Sammy now with a really good opportunity to put some points down. Just needs to maneuver himself into shape. I mean, he has a... I'm not sure if the one ball passes the 10. If it does, he just needs to play this as a stop shot. Stop shot on the 13. And use the 10 ball to go into the cluster. The 10 ball definitely goes. It's just a matter of whether he can stop this 13 dead. Also looking at a combo on the 5-14, but I don't think that's quite dead. Actually looks like he's choosing to go forward here rather than playing the stop shot. On and off the rail. Turns out that's absolutely inch perfect. He's going to go forward and maybe use the one ball off this one. Ooh, that was... Actually, you know what? As it goes, this is a great opportunity now. If he picks this apart the right way, he's going to leave himself a great break ball. Just has to be very surgical. 11, 5, 14. Everything goes as long as he picks the right order. This is some of the intricate play that really appeals to me as a straight pool player. Being able to pick apart a rack is a skill in itself. I think I'd be tempted to take the 9 ball here. Just play a stop shot on the 9. That opens up the 5 and gives him a straighter option on the 14. As I said, now it's all about who can keep their mettle, who can keep their nerve. Been a great match to commentate on. I think we've had it all. Aggression, safety, rolls back and forth. He's got a couple of options here. Personally, I like to stop this. Play the 6 in the side. Just float up for my key ball. which will be the 12. And if he makes this, he's going to put himself within one rack of the title. Really, really tensed up, and you saw that was a stabby stroke. Made it. Really wanted to hold that straight for the 12, and ended up losing the cue ball. Easy to do at this stage of the match. Hell, I'm tense watching it. Ooh. So I think what he wants to do now is just swing this off 2 rails and leave the cue ball slightly right of the pack, of the outline of the rack. That way he's still got the 6, and he can come up 1 rail. Always played, wow, played that way too strong for a start. That's what adrenaline does at this stage. Wow. Stick with us, folks. We are here till the end. I'll give you guys a score update just before the end of this rack. If Sammy's going to be confident here, he should just play the cut on the 12. A little bit of inside English. Drift it off 2 rails. And back into that key position area. Even if he finishes inside the rack, it's perfect. Float the cue ball just inside the rack. I mean, oh. Again, this tension is high. Chuck running around the rack hasn't really left anything. I actually think he's left nothing, except the long 8 up into the corner. You can really see how animated Chuck is there. Just needs to settle his nerves. You know, can't let frustration get the better of him. At this level, especially in the gold division, you need to be able to hold that. Doesn't help that the Team 9 ball is getting very rowdy in the background, so that might be upsetting them a little bit. If anything, he's played that very soft. Played that way too soft. I mean, the 8 is inside the rack, so what you may find him doing, he may leave the cue ball inside the rack and take ball in hand. If he can't draw this below the rack. I quite like just drawing this just below the rack. That works too. Played it in the side. 12-2 the score. Let me just see what the score is now. What's the score there, Chuck? What's the score there, Chuck? All right, nobody listening. Both players absolutely in the zone. Oof, another bad one. Sorry about that score correction, guys. Let's share this far and wide, guys. Let's share this far and wide. This one's going right down to the wire. Just going to try and feather off this one. Doesn't want to hit it too thick. That's perfect. Trying to create some distance, so it's kind of create a little bit of more difficulty for Sammy. Really just wants to thin off the 14 here. Play the 14 thin. I mean, there's enough weight in the pack there that it's not going to disturb anything, as long as he hits this thin. Yeah, that's a real nice shot. Really coming all the way back down there into that top rail. Now this is tough. You may just see him flick off the 14 here, so in playing the 14, he's only going to push the 10 down to the end rail and then just come 2 rails. Again, looking to see if there's any kind of carom or combination in this pack. I can't see any right now. Can you not? Yeah, I think the 11 is the shot. I like the combo on the 11 personally. He's called the 14. I think he's looking at the 14. I don't know if it squeezes. If this squeezes, this is intense. He's going to play the 9 onto the 14, off the 10. Taking his time over it, so obviously thinks it's there. This for me will be the win or loss, because he's going to spread balls after this. Wow, what a shot. I'll tell you what a great shot. Got Mike Yednak standing beside. We have a score of 139-135. I mean, what a shot at this stage in the match. Although he's tight on the rail here, if he plays the 15, he's going to go forward. Instead, I think he's opting for 10 ball. Might just afford the better positional value. I think he might just be too straight on the 15. I think I remember earlier in the match he played this type of shot and didn't get enough follow. He needs a big bounce. This is going to come right down for the 3. That's perfect. Very nice. playing the 3 now. He has 2 options. He can swing around the rails, so come round 2 rails for the 9 as a secondary break, or he can try and kill it and use the 15 as the break ball. I think he's got too much angle to kill it for the 15, so for me, I'd be swinging this. Yeah, needs a bit more. Needs it to swing. Didn't get there. Now he's looking at the 11. The 11 has to be the option. Yeah, didn't get too far on that. Now taking the safety option. Probably just see him roll freeze onto the pack. Yeah, it's not the best safety. It does really afford. Chuck levels it up with those 4 poils. I think that's 139 apiece. For me, that's really not the best safety because Sammy can just drift off this 13 and put this cue ball into oblivion. So we approach the 3.5 hour mark. Oh, he's pushed the 8 ball out. But he has a lovely cue ball. Look at that. At this stage of the match, guys, to play that cue ball with that much weight, that's a beautiful shot. I don't know about you guys, but I've got butterflies sat here. This really could go either way. Both have had opportunities. Both have squandered them. Both looking up at the beads like yeah, this is huge. I agree. You're staring down the barrel of this. This 8 ball opens up the whole rack. You miss it, you lose. You make it, you're out. What I love about this, guys, is there's 10 balls on the table. Both guys need 11. Yeah, Lou's got it. I'd rather go down swinging as well, personally. Off the rail, though, this is such a difficult shot. I mean, he's bridged up as well. He's jacking rather than using the rail for the guide. I don't like jacking up on this ball. I mean, it was a half-hearted effort, and I think he's got away with it. He's left the 8 in the side. Don't think the 2 ball goes. Sammy just taking a minute to rub down his cue. I honestly don't think the 2 ball goes. I know it looks like it does from there. But I actually think it's just off center. Just off center. Well, in saying that, what am I even thinking? The 15 absolutely flies. There's me looking at the 2 ball and I'm not even looking. Yeah, you called it, Lou. 15's a little straight, but oh man. He really just didn't get around far enough there. And I believe that the 11 is just too straight for any real purchase on this pack. is able to get just something on that. Just by getting a something, he's forged an opportunity. His 13 goes in the side now, and he's got options. He has a break ball. He can really put himself in the driving seat here. Even just by clearing these little balls out. The 8 ball's a good insurance ball here if he wants to use the 1 and just split this puck out. Why change a winning formula? It's worked for him so far, so he's going back to his roots. That's a real nice shot. Needs to get rid of these 2 on the rail now. Because both the 7... Oh, he chose to come back. I don't know why he did that. I would have gone forward and just played the 2 and 9 next. As it stands, a 7 will probably be his break ball. If he's going to swing this 3 rails and come around for the 12. Maybe scratch that, 8 ball. Just needs to keep his focus, you know. Can't get too erratic in these last balls. Looks like he's going to be using the 9 as his key ball. We'll want to try and just kill this cue ball. Doesn't want to get too high on the 9, otherwise he'll be sending the cue ball high. Just looking at the score, if I've done my maths right, I believe it is 139, 139. So Sammy taking 10 points from this, he will need 1 ball. Which I believe is going to be the break ball, so once he plays this and gets the re-rack, he just needs that 1 ball. So not even worrying about position. Chuck concedes, takes the game. What a fantastic match, people. We have been treated to an absolute fantastic finale there. Been a pleasure to commentate. Thanks to Mike Yednak for the league. Everyone involved in it has been fantastic down here. Massive congratulations to Sammy there. And what a comeback from Chuck, everybody. You know, Chuck definitely deserves a hand. Everybody shaking the hand in the crowd right now. What a fantastic match it was there. Thanks to everyone for watching. My name's Del Sim. I'm going to sign out now. I'm going to do what I do best. Drink beer. And go and join my wife, who's been patiently waiting for me at the bar. Thanks very much, guys. I will sign out and see you soon. Take care.
Sorry about the torture, man. I should have run with that shit. I had 90-16 lead. 90-16. 65 goal lead I had. And maybe that's what I was